I would like to talk about what Stanislavski taught actors about observation. Are you looking for something powerful to transform your acting? In this video, we're diving into what Stanislavski really meant by observation, how he trained actors to do it, and why this practice is more important today than ever before. When Constantin Stanislavski began shaping what would become the foundation of modern acting, he didn't start with emotion or character arcs or even technique. He started with something deceivingly simple and ordinary, yet far more radical: learning to look. According to Stanislavski, observation was not just an optional tool for the actor. Instead, it was a wellspring of inspiration for every truthful moment on stage. If actors wanted to create believable human behavior, they first had to see real human behavior with the curious eyes of an artist. And that meant observing the world with a depth that most everyday people would never attempt. Today, more than a century later, his lessons on observation remain some of the most transformative tools available to the actor. One of the most important things to understand about this subject is that Stanislavski put observation at the center of his whole entire process. In that time period, Stanislavski believed too many actors relied on imitation. Generalities about acting sad, angry, in love, or nervous, instead of incorporating the complexity of real human behavior. He saw imitation as the death of artistry. His antidote to the death of artistry, as he referred to it as, began with the concept of observation. To him, the actor's job was not to fake, but to recreate, not to take a guess, but instead to study, digest, and integrate human psychology, physical behavior, social interactions, speech patterns. These were all raw materials of the actor's craft, and they were available for the taking if actors could just learn how to look. Actors who failed to observe the world around them openly and honestly would never learn how to create real truth on the stage. Actors who learned to observe deeply could then embody a character with so much more authenticity. Let's talk about what Stanislavski considered to be the art of everyday observation. One of Stanislavski's first exercises was stunningly simple. Notice the who, what, and why of the people around you. But in no way whatsoever did he mean that it should be a casual people watching exercise. He intended this exercise to be similar to the way that a great anthropologist observes wildlife: patiently, attentively, and openly. Similar to the art of observation made famous by someone such as Jane Goodall. Stanislavski encouraged actors to watch, for example, how someone engages in an activity when they're anxious versus when they're bored. How couples walk together versus strangers who happen to be walking side by side. And how a person's choice in clothing shifts their energy as well as their physicality. Rather than creating caricatures, it was about how the actor observes micro behaviors that help make each individual totally unique. Over time, actors build a mental library of physical and psychological details to draw from. Some actors kept journals, others sketched, and all practiced the art of daily looking, observing, and noticing. Stanislavski believed that this habit not only trained actors, it transformed them. They became more empathetic, more curious, and more focused. Also, the world became richer, more layered, and more alive. Stanislavski also believed that observation was the gateway to the actor's imagination. Though Stanislavski's ideas were associated with realism in the theater, he never intended observation to limit the actor's creativity in any way whatsoever. In fact, the opposite was true. For him, observation fueled the actor's imagination. Once you know how a terrified person behaves under pressure, you can imagine how your character, a terrified soldier, a terrified politician, a terrified lover, might react in entirely different circumstances. Another way of looking at it is, once you've observed human jealousy in everyday life, you can lift that specific behavior that you observed and transform it to fit a Shakespearean tragedy or even a farce. Observation provides truth. Imagination lifts it into art. Stanislavski also believed that observation planted the seeds to what is referred to as the given circumstances. Stanislavski encouraged actors to observe with purpose, to understand how human behavior changes when the circumstances change. Every choice a character makes, he insisted, is rooted within their given circumstances. The context, the stakes, the relationships, and the obstacles that stand in the way. How someone behaves in a crowded room versus when they're left completely by themselves. How a person's energy changes when they receive good news and then when they receive bad news. How behavior and human energy changes when a person is exhausted or cold or overwhelmed. And how social conflicts shape a person's posture, eye contact, and the tone of their voice. This approach to observation trained actors to think through their character's circumstances, not just what's in the text, but the life that's happening underneath. Observation was really the genesis of what later became the core principles of his acting technique: objectives, actions, and truthful behavior under imaginary circumstances. All of these were connected to the core foundation of how an actor should observe real human behavior and the world around them. Stanislavski's controversial term, emotional memory, has been wildly reinterpreted and sometimes misinterpreted, but observation lies at its core. In other words, the delicate and careful noticing of your own physical and emotional responses to the sensorial environment around you whenever you are involved in a highly emotional situation. And you notice, for example, what disappointment feels like in your body, how being excited about something changes the way that you breathe, how anger affects your ability to speak, how fear subtly changes your thoughts and your decisions. Regarding emotional memory, actors were not asked to indulge or wallow. They were asked to understand. Observation helps the actor create emotional truth safely, consciously, and artfully. So here's why observation means even more today. Modern life trains us to skim, not to see. We constantly multitask. We scroll, living much of our lives inside of our devices. In this modern world that we live in, Stanislavski's emphasis on deep, purposeful observation has become not just an acting tool, but a true revolution. His methods demand patience, presence, curiosity, and awareness. These are increasingly rare qualities, yet they're essential for the actor. Actors who cultivate observation develop sharper senses, rich, unique characters, deeper emotional intelligence, and an ownership of their craft. And most importantly, they cultivate empathy, which is the core of the actor's work. In conclusion, observation is the actor's first love. Stanislavski changed the world of acting, not because he invented real emotion on stage, but because he reminded actors where emotion begins in real life and in human behavior. He famously said, "Love the art in yourself, not yourself in the art." Observation is a practice of loving the art, not just by looking inward, but also by looking outward at the world around you with open eyes and an open heart. Because for actors, everything begins with how you can look and see. And the more clearly you can see, the more you can tell the truth. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more videos like this one. Click on the description below for links to our website and to learn more about the new Collective Acting Studio and our private coaching membership. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.